Hello, it's Kathleen. I'm one of the spirit operators. Thank you so much for being here. So in this video, we're taking a look at Pure Lands. So in the previous videos, I have been describing all the different realms that we can take rebirth in. We are all trapped in the cycle of uncontrolled rebirth. So we don't know where our next life is going to be. And it doesn't matter how much you want it to be somewhere, that doesn't mean that's going to happen. You have to put effort into that. Anyway, so we're looking at the Pure Lands in this video. So what is a Pure Land? So that's a place where absolutely everything is pure. The environment is completely pure. Your body is completely pure. Your mind is completely pure. There's no suffering. There's no illness. There's no aging. There's no poverty, no war, no harm. You experience pure inner peace and deep bliss when you reside there. I have been told that one afternoon in a Pure Land is the same length of time as 50 of our human years. Now, we are trapped in the cycle of uncontrolled rebirth. However, the holiest of holy beings are not. They have developed their mind enough that they have escaped and they're no longer caught up and trapped in this. So some of those holy beings, I don't know if they all do, but some of those holy beings have a Pure Land. So there are multiple Pure Lands, and you can go to whichever one, perhaps you have the closest connection to a certain holy being, then you can take rebirth there. Or if you engage in practices to get to a specific Pure Land, you can end up in theirs. So while you're there in that Pure Land, you will learn directly from that holiest of beings whose land it is that you now reside. And they will teach you directly how to become exactly like them. So yeah, I had one teacher who described it as it's like being at university. I haven't been at university. I don't know. But yeah, it's pure, blissful, and you're learning how to develop your mind to become one of the holiest of beings, because that's where we're all going to end up eventually. So, if this is something you want to be doing, you want to do that in this lifetime if you can. Now, another aspect of being in this Pure Land is that you will control when you die and where you take your next rebirth. Okay, so there are one or two, I'm not sure how many, it's very rare, but there are Pure Lands that if you get there and you go through teachings and you learn everything you need to do and you do everything you need to do, you will go from there directly to being one of the holy beings. But most of the Pure Lands, from what I understand, you go there, you learn everything you can, and then you come back and take one more human rebirth. Because of all of the realms in uncontrolled rebirth, the human realm is the best chance you have to leave that cycle. Okay? I will get into that more in future videos. So yeah, they attend the Pure Land, take one more rebirth as a human, and from there they then go on to become one of the holiest beings. They get out of this cycle. So you can take rebirth there in your next life, if that's something you would like to do, because it sounds pretty good to me. So, and it's the ultimate. You know, like if you're working on your spiritual practice, you're trying to make spiritual attainments. You just, if that's what your focus is in this life, like, you know, I want out. I don't want to remain in uncontrolled rebirth. I don't want to go through suffering anymore. I want out. I want all the crud to end. Then this is, you know, where you want to go if you're not going to be able to get directly out to become a holy being. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, the very first step is you need to make the wish to take rebirth in a Pure Land. So you can research if you want to find out what the different Pure Lands are, what holy being, you know, is running that Pure Land, or it's their Pure Land kind of idea. So just, and it's not like you just go, oh, I wish to take rebirth there, and then forget about it, just go on with life normally. No, that's only one step. And so you need to kind of keep repeating that. Try to keep that in the back of your mind, that you want to take rebirth in a Pure Land. Try to bring it up as often as you can, to remember it as often as you can, that you really want to take rebirth there. You want to maintain and hold on to that, because it's best for your mind, so that your mind knows, hey, that's where I want to go. That's what I want to work on. That's what I want to do. And so the constant reminders is good for that. But it also lets the holy beings and other beings that are helping know that you're serious. It's not just a one-time thing like, oh yeah, that'd be cool, and then drop it. That's not going to work, okay? So what else you have to do? You need to have pure compassion for all living beings. That's something you're going to have to work on, building your compassion. So you also need to increase all the positive actions you do in your life. And the most positive actions you can do are to help others. Always try to benefit others. Okay, that's part of compassion. So all your positive actions or positive karma, you want to increase that. Keep working on it, and do more and more and more, the best that you can. Even, you know, like feeding the birds or something. That is a positive action. So just keep trying to increase your positive karma. Being kind to others. There's a whole bunch of things you can do. Okay? It's also super important that as you're increasing the amount of karma, the good positive karma you're creating for yourself, that you need to dedicate it so that you don't lose it. Because one moment of anger can erase a load of the good karma you've done. So any negative action that you engage in is going to destroy all the positive actions you've been doing. So you need to dedicate the positive actions you've been doing in order to keep them safe. Okay? Keep them from being destroyed by the negative karma. So another thing you need to do is eliminate the negative actions you're engaging in. So stop harming others. Stop doing negative things as much as possible. Keep working on it, and keep working on it, and keep working on it. You know, like, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and do nothing but positive actions and refrain from doing all negative actions. It's extremely rare. I haven't been able to do it. So, but just keep working on it and keep working on it. And another thing with the negative actions. So you've probably done many negative actions in the past. We all have. You're not unusual in that. And we need to purify those actions, okay? So you need to purify them to eliminate them, because doing positive actions does not destroy the negative actions. Doing negative actions destroys the positive actions you've done, but it doesn't work the opposite way, okay? There's a lot more to it to be able to get rid of the negative actions completely. Okay. You also need to renounce all of the attachment you have to this life. So that means you need to overcome your attachment to everything in this world, everything that you own, and everyone, all of the people you have attachment for. You need to eliminate that. Get over that. So that when you are dying, you're not grasping on to things that are here in this life, because that will prevent you from taking rebirth in a Pure Land. It's best to try to have a mind of pure compassion when you die, but you really need to just let go of whatever it is you're attached to in this life, because if you don't, you're just going to end up back in that cycle of uncontrolled rebirth and end up taking rebirth in one of the 6 realms. Okay. There are things that you can do to help others take rebirth in a Pure Land. Also for yourself. So if you're sick, if you know you're dying, if someone else dies, there is a book that you can put on the crown of your head. It's Joyful Path of Good Fortune, and it needs to be on the crown of the head for a minimum of half an hour. Immediately after the person dies. That book has been blessed, and the act of putting that on the crown of your head will get you to take rebirth in a Pure Land, because the book has been blessed. Now, you can have that stipulated in your will, or if there's someone near you that you're close to when you're dying, you can ask them to do that for you. If someone else you know dies and they want to be taking rebirth there, you can do that for them. But only do that if you have the person's permission. It depends, because if it's someone who perhaps doesn't have all their faculties, you could do that possibly, but again, you don't want to be upsetting anyone. You don't want to be going against anyone's beliefs by doing that. Okay. Now, I have done that for pets and animals when they have died, to help them, because an animal doesn't have the capacity to, even understand that going there would be a possibility. So I've just gone ahead and done that to help them. I don't see that as being harmful. I mean, because it's a great place to take rebirth in. So there's also a book called Living Meaningfully and Dying Joyfully. And in the back of that, there is a section of heartfelt prayers. You can do those every day for 40 days after someone dies. You have to do it like once a day for 40 days. Try not to miss any days. Do the best that you can to help someone who has passed on, to try to help them take the best rebirth possible. But your goal is to help them get to a pure land. These are things I've also done for people and animals that have passed away. Now, if you're interested in visiting a pure land to see if it's real, you can do that through meditation. Now, I have actually had that happen to me during shamanic journeys, so that is another possibility. Now, the first time I went, okay, both times that I've been able to get there, I was pulled up there. The very first time, Dakinis came and they took me up there. They took me, it's a long way, because I don't know if you've ever done a shamanic journey, you can get places pretty quick. It was a long way. Took a long time for them to pull me up. And eventually they stopped, revealed who they were, and then continued and took me the rest of the way up to a pure land. I was just completely overwhelmed and didn't feel like I deserved to be there. And I was told by the holy being whose pure land it was that I couldn't be there if I didn't deserve to be there, which really blew me away. But I know it's degenerate times. Hey, I am not perfect, but I try to do as much spiritual practice as I can, and I try my best to have compassion for all living beings and try to benefit others. Again, I'm not perfect. I try my best to engage in positive actions and decrease negative actions as much as I can. I have not perfected this at all. It's degenerate time, so even just applying effort means a lot. It gets you a lot of good karma because it's so rare for anyone to do that nowadays. So, like, they brought me up there. I wasn't even expecting it. Not at all. The second time it happened to me, I had a pet cat who died, Sebastian. He was awesome. And so I made sure to put the joyful path of good fortune on the crown of his head. He died naturally here in my home. And I kept it on there for hours and hours and hours. And then I did that practice, the heartfelt prayers for 40 days, once a day, every day for 40 days, just praying and praying and praying that he would take rebirth in a pure land, because he was such an awesome dude. And I had visions of him standing outside on my lawn, leaning on the tree on my lawn, looking in at me, totally in like a human form, dressed really fancy. And am I seeing things? And I kept like, and that happened a few days in a row where I saw him, and I thought that you can kind of tell. If you pay attention, you can tell energies. You can tell if it's the energy of the same being or not. Because with doing shamanic work, I also interact with spirits. When I clear haunted places and things, you can tell if it's the same energy or not. Especially when you're dealing with a trickster, and they're trying to take different forms and pretend they're somebody new, and it's like, I know it's you. So it felt like Sebastian's energy, and I was just like, this is crazy. So then again, when I was doing a shamanic journey, I got pulled up to Pure Land, and there was Sebastian thanking me for getting him there. And then there was another being, again, they had like a human form who showed up, who was a cat previous that we had that we had gotten them up there as well. So that it was just so fantastic to have experienced that, to know that okay, it had worked and I had helped them get there, and just how wonderful that was. I was just so full of joy that that had happened, and for him to take the time and to bring the other person as well to say, yeah, you got both of us up here. That's fantastic. So you can get there if you want to, and it just takes a little bit of effort to help others, but it's having that pure intention that you want them to get there. To have that pure intention in your heart and try to hold on to that, and then it can work. So that's how come I feel comfortable with teaching about these Pure Lands. I've been there twice. So they do exist. I would love to take Rebirth there. I have no idea if I'm actually going to manage that, because like I said, I'm not perfect. But that is something that you could try for. Just try to follow the steps and try to get as much information as you can on what to do and how to do it. So I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've learned something and that it's been helpful for you. And yeah, there's descriptions below to join us on our website and on Bluesky. So thank you again for watching. See you later.